Don't lie to the therapist. Tell the therapist the truth.
Our kids have access to the internet, and like we said, a little information is dangerous. And
Self-diagnosing their own mental health.
So now
you're
gaslighting me, and you're a narcissist, and I have social anxiety based on the information that they looked up on internet.
I realize that other parent hurt you. You're going to have to let it go. Or can you try to forgive them?
Or they're a bit more self-absorbed, and they're going to say, you're crossing my boundary, my border. So I'm just going to you can't be in my lane.
Exactly. I might forgive your ass, but I ain't gonna fool with you. Welcome to the Pickup Line. I'm Mari.
And I'm Dina.
And today we have a serious topic we're going to talk about.
It's a touchy topic, heartbreaking topic.
Yes. We've got a lot of people that are estranged from their families, maybe breaking up with their families, divorcing their families, whether it's their mom, dad, or siblings, and they're just opting out of communicating with their family to maybe protect their peace or feel like they're in a safe space. I'm not really sure why, but it's happening, and it's happening at a large rate of numbers. And I feel like it probably should be, it should stop.
Well, it's become a phenomenon, right? Like we're just seeing a lot of things come up on like different social media posts and things like that. And you and I have talked about this, like where did this start? And if we kind of rewind back like 40 or 50 years, like not talking to your family and not being connected with your family, whether you like them or not, was not an option. Like I remember growing up with my brother, and it's like, we're family. Like your family has your back no matter what. You may be wrong, but I'm gonna have your back. But when we get home, we're having a conversation about how wrong you were.
Right.
Like it's not, there was no disconnect there.
I may not tell you you're wrong in front of everybody.
Right.
But when I get to my own space, in a safe space, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong.
Yes.
And I say that to my kids a lot. I say, if you don't tell me what's happening, I can't help you. If you blindside me, that's gonna be a different story. But because my kids are so far apart in age, I've always wanted my kids to stay close. It's not an option.
So one of the things you did is you created a space. You and I both do this. You create a space where the children can have a conversation without judgment, without, backlash. Obviously there are reasons why people, children decide not to stay connected with their family or divorce their family. What the reading I've done, the research I've done, it's like typically Gen Z and millennials who are like, I'm not doing this. I'm protecting my peace. I need to be honest with what my truth is. And that's some of the reasons they're giving for disconnecting with their families completely. And if we rewind and we talk about like the talk show era.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Oprah, Dr. Phil, a lot of those shows were king and queen of, I've got to protect my peace. I don't have to deal with this. This doesn't happen in my life. But what they did is they told you how to disconnect, but they didn't tell you how to deal with the problem.
Or heal.
Or deal with the issue. Or that, unfortunately, we can't pick our family. Like, I don't get to pick my sister. I mean, I can love my sisters and be with my sisters, and there's things that my mom does and people do that drive me crazy, but I don't get to just quit talking to my mama. I mean, it's like, what? And subconsciously, that wouldn't sit well with me. If I upset my mom, I'm upset the next day, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix that, because every day that you get with a parent is priceless. However, I think that I'll say this and I'll say this again. Churches are built off families. If you can destroy the family, you can destroy the church. I think that generational sin is real. I think that we need to be more conscious as parents that anybody can have a kid. Anybody can have a kid. If you're physically able to do what you do to have a kid, you can have a kid. But not anybody can be a parent.
Yeah.
Having a kid and being a parent are totally different things. Because once you have a kid, you have to realize there has to be an investment in that child. And the investment comes mentally, emotionally, spiritually. For me, it was as for me in my house, we will serve the Lord. But I give them an opportunity to do the things that they need to do. When they grow up, they can pick their own religion and things like that. But I think that we need to figure out a way to stop the generational sins of our families to the point that we're cutting them off. Like you can't cut your family off.
Yeah, you're talking about a level of respect, though. When you talk about if something happens with you and your mom, you're going to go back and have a conversation with your mom. You know, I've had that with my mom. Like I thought I was, you know, really short and with her, and I text her. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I was really short up. And she's like, what are you talking about? But it's like that level of respect. And when you talk about, you know, having spiritual faith, having God, like it's like God in the middle and everything else goes out from there. And so
it's
when
like
that
a family tree.
Right, exactly. When that's not happening, that does cause dissension.
But you also have parents that need to work a little harder on their relationships with their kids. If my kid decided they didn't want to talk to me or they weren't going to speak to me for whatever reason, I'm showing up.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at the ballet recital. I'm going to be at their house for Christmas. They may not want to talk to me, but they're going to get a gift from me. I'm going to be at the door. I'm going to continue to try to mend fences with my family. That's just me. You know, that's just how I look at it. I think that we need to teach our children forgiveness, right? When kids hear no, I was looking at this the other day on Instagram when a mom asked the son to do the dishes and he completely tore the whole fucking kitchen up because he didn't want to do the dishes. Well, see, he should have been taught to do the dishes when he was 3. Housework is good for kids. I mean, you need to pick up your shit.
So what did the mom do? Did it talk about what
She videoed it.
No, that's all she did?
That's all I saw. She videoed it. And first of all, like, what girl?
I'm like, did he clean up everything else?
No,
like,
he tore the whole house up.
See, but it's like that.
The house is torn to smithereens.
But that's part of parenting. It's like we want to pick our kids up and carry them through everything. As hard as it is as a parent, like we want to, you know, protect them from all the challenges. But in that situation, he needs to clean up the rest of everything he tore up. Because then how does he learn?
He didn't, obviously. He should have learned when he was 3.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what happens. And now our kids have access to the internet, and like we said, a little information is dangerous. And
self-diagnosing their own mental health.
So now you're gaslighting me, and you're a narcissist, and I have social anxiety based on the information that they looked up on internet. And because so many parents, I feel like, want to protect their kids, you know, it's like, yeah, well, your children has this, what they say, there's validity to it for sure, because their perception is their reality. At the same time, as a parent, you step in and you sift through it with them. You talk to them about that.
I think one big reason kids are divorcing their parents, it's a lack of consistency, right?
What do you mean by that?
It's like you have, just imagine yourself being a little girl and say your parents are divorced and your dad is going to come pick you up or your mom's going to come pick you up. And they're like, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to go bowling Tuesday. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then the little girl gets ready and she's all ready to go. And she's got her little bows in her hair and she's just sitting there waiting. And the parent doesn't show up. Can you imagine? That kid is going to remember that for the rest of their life. And after that happening to that kid so many times, when that child becomes an adult and is able to choose, that child may not choose to go bowling with that parent again due to the fear of being abandoned when they were a kid.
Yeah. But then also, when they're sitting there waiting for that parent to show up that doesn't ever show up, the parent that is there has to be the one to have a conversation and talk about how they're feeling and talk about it's not a reflection, you know, on them, and give them self-worth and value. Like, then the other parent has to step in and do that. And, even to the point where I've had to do this, like, you have to like kind of give the other parent, not a pass, but grace, and teaching your children how to do that. And as much as, you know, you may not want to, that's how you teach your kids to forgive and see the other side of the story. And, you know, maybe there's a reason, or maybe there's not a reason. That person just is making bad choices because people make bad choices.
And when kids get older, they need to understand that parents are human beings. Parents make mistakes. But one of the hardest things in the world is to tell your child, I realize that parent made a mistake. I realize that other parent hurt you. You're going to have to let it go. Or can you try to forgive them? That's a whole nother show within itself, is trying to teach your kids or trying to instruct your kids or navigate your kids into forgiving another parent that doesn't even talk to you. that isn't even around you. That is a subject that so many people agree to disagree with. Because when you're divorced, some kids pick the mom, some kids pick the dad. Some kids give each person the opportunity to show them who they are as a parent. And if the parent never showed up when the kid was little, 9 times out of 10, the child is going to go with the parent that showed up. Mm-hmm. And it's not the mom's fault or it's not the dad's fault. It's what the child is accustomed to and what she's grown up or he's grown up with. So they tend to choose the parent where they're more comfortable at, where they feel more at home at, where their sensors don't go off as I have to be on guard or I have to protect myself or I have to figure out, what's going on. And I think that kids don't want to deal with that anymore. So they're deciding, hell, I'm grown now. I can make my own money, pay my own bills, do my own shit. I don't have to deal with you.
So you're saying that's a reason to not contact that particular parent. Are you saying like that parent that didn't show up and now the kid's older, that those are reasons to not be in contact with that parent anymore?
I'm saying that contributes a lot to it. Mm-hmm. When I grew up in a family with my stepbrothers and sisters. I remember getting a birthday card from my father one time. And I opened up the birthday card. This man spelled my name wrong. He spelled Nikki, Nikki. I opened the card. I kept the card for a long time. Because of the Holy Spirit that lives in me, I learned to forgive him. I never got really close to him, but I learned to forgive him. Because in my eyes, as a little kid that's innocent, he made the choice not to be my dad. Mm-hmm. He made the choice not to call me every day. He made a choice to consciously not be involved in who I am as a person. And when I grew up, because of grace, I tried to give him the opportunity to be a better grandfather than he was a father. Mm-hmm. And he still didn't take it. Yeah. So at that point, I done what God wanted me to do. I forgave him because I knew that I couldn't change him. I couldn't make him to be the man that I wanted him to be. I couldn't make him be the father that I wanted him to be. I knew that I had to give him to Jesus and let him go. Mm-hmm. Now, did I let him go to the point where I was mean to him and angry with him? Or if he came to town, I wouldn't let him see my grandkids? No. But I put him in a box in my heart that didn't reciprocate the same type of love that I gave to my stepfather. Mm-hmm. And people need to understand that sometimes friends are your family. Sometimes your stepfather or mother could be a better person to you than your real father was. But that doesn't mean that I had to cut off my father, because my mother still let him come over. She would let him come to dinner with us. She would let him be around us, but she knew who he was. Mm. So you have people that are disconnecting with their families because substance abuse, mental abuse, physical, sexual abuse, divorce. There's so many reasons, but I never went to therapy to heal from that. Mm-hmm. What I did is I said I was going to be a better parent than I had.
Yeah, so you have that emotional intelligence to do that, mm-hmm. right? And the things you just listed.
I don't know that I had the emotional intelligence to do it. I knew that I wasn't going to allow my children mm-hmm. to suffer from my loss. It gets me worked up when I talk about it. It wasn't an emotional something that I learned or I developed. It was on my knees praying. It was, God, give me strength. It was, I'm gonna do what I got to do to make sure my kids are better, which is the purpose of the show.
Well, and here's the thing: is like you going through that. This is interesting because you going through that is how you were able to decide how you wanted to raise your children, and tying it together. So many parents are trying to protect their kids, that they're not able to be good parents. So because you went through what you went through, that created the groundwork for you to raise your children the way that you raise them and how they're, flourishing. You get what I'm saying? It's like, so allowing your children to go through the tough times.
Yeah.
It gives them the opportunity to turn that around into something that's going to benefit them. And so many parents are not allowing that. and then their kids get older, and it's kind of like, you have kids, there are real reasons why they need that space. Maybe they want that autonomy. Maybe their parents were like helicopter parents. They need to have some, feel like they're doing things on their own. So, or maybe there was abuse and trauma and all those kind of things. They need their space. But then there are other kids, that just maybe kind of like having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to, if they're not getting their way, they don't know how to navigate through that because they didn't learn it.
I'm going to say this to any parent whose child has just totally given up on them. There's two sides to every story. Everybody's feelings at the time are valid. There has to be some type of professional help to help you figure out how to bridge your family back together. Because parents aren't perfect. Kids aren't perfect. Shit happens. Shit happens every day in a family. You could be mad that you didn't get the Christmas gift you want and cut somebody off. That's some stupid shit.
That's what I'm saying. That's a temper tantrum.
The parent thinking the parent wasn't supposed to provide for you the way they should. I mean, you have two parents that just got shot and killed by their son. And the parents did everything they could do to help this child get over his substance abuse. I can't remember the man's name.
Griner.
To help Griner, to help the child get over his substance abuse. And the child couldn't do it. The child was sick with disease and stricken with disease, but at some point they may have needed to institutionalize that child because that was loving him the hard way, right? So we have to teach our kids hard conversations. We have to teach our kids tough love. And giving to the kid isn't investing in the kid.
No.
It's not investing in their soul and their spirits and who they are and teaching them how to grow up to be amazing little human beings. And money don't buy that.
Mm-mm.
So somebody, I've always said this in a family, and it's part of how our family is. Somebody's ego got to die.
Yep.
In order to be a good parent, somebody's ego got to die.
Well, when we're living in a world that is so driven by capitalism and materialistic and things that you have,
politics
and politics, all those things, you have to still be able to teach your children the value of being a good human. Mm-hmm. And that starts with, this might seem like contradictory, but this starts with like how you treat yourself. Mm-hmm. And discipline is loving yourself. Mm-hmm. So having discipline, is definitely loving yourself, and you have to be able to teach that to your children.
And social media is not a real way to live. You have to bury your ego. Everybody's not going to have good skin. Everybody's not going to have the Brady Bunch. Everybody's not going to grow up like Good Times. It's not going to happen.
It's not like Good Times.
It's not going to happen. Everybody's life is different. Shit is different. Things happen different. You might have got a new car and it was a Honda. She might have got a new car and it was a Benz. It doesn't matter. You can't compare apples to oranges. You have to invest in your family emotionally, physically, and spiritually to make sure your ass don't get cut off, to make sure you know what's wrong, to make sure she, when my son said to me one time, he's like, Mom, you missed my senior night. I forgot I missed his senior night. I was devastated. I was like, I did. And I missed it, hustling and bustling, getting my kids together, getting my daughter together. I was being mom and dad. I was juggling everything. There are times my kids could have stopped talking to me for some shit that I did. And thank God I went back and said, oh my God, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that.
That's the part right there. You got to go back and have that conversation.
You always go back.
You have to go back and have that conversation. So could you imagine like your child not talking to you? Like I would be heartbroken if my daughters were like if I'm calling them and they're not calling me back. Even now, if I text them, they don't text me back. I'm like, hello.
Okay. This is going to sound crazy when I say this, but you think a lioness is going to leave her cub? You think the lioness is going to leave her cub because the lion did something? Let's discuss that.
Or the cub.
The lion might get mad at the cub because his lazy ass just sits there and doesn't want to, play with the cub or do whatever. It might flip off the cub. But that lioness is coming for him. And what she's going to tell him is, you're dead ass wrong. Which is what parents need to do to the other parent. Which is what we need to do to each other. We need to hold each other accountable for our actions. you know, you don't get to do some of the shit you do and never be accountable for it. And it takes a big person to show accountability. You know, I had to say, I'm sorry to my son. I had to say, oh my God, I didn't even realize that. Because I didn't realize at the time that was a big day for him.
Yeah.
And I missed it.
But that teaches him to know that it's okay to say I'm sorry too in his relationships.
And forgive.
Yeah.
Forgive.
Yeah.
You've got to forgive. You know, I grew up, again, I talk about my step-parents, my stepfather. And I grew up with 5 stepbrothers and sisters. My mother had 4 kids. I've said this before. And one of our brothers has been estranged for years. He's been gone. We haven't seen him in years, talked to him in years. I think he called my stepsister years ago, but never said where he was, how he was living. And they, to this day, don't know why he left. They don't know why he left. Yeah. But there's a reason. So when kids may not know, the parents know, somebody knows. Like, there's 2 sides to every story. And again, like you said, and the truth.
3 sides, yep.
But my stepsister just passed and we were at the funeral and he was not there. There was a picture of him, but he wasn't there. And when his picture came up, all of our reaction was like, oh, there he is, right? Because we loved him. And maybe he didn't feel like he got the love that he needed. Maybe he was on drugs. We don't know. But what I want people to understand is, what a lonely way to live your life without your family.
Well, but it's also a lesson, I think, for the family that's experiencing the person who's estranged from the family, is being able to move on and not carry that burden of guilt. You know, like because you imagine, like, if my daughters decided not to talk to me and just, I would have a level of guilt. I would be like, what did I do? And how did this go wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would just like haunt me as a parent. So it's like, you have to learn how to like take that guilt off and kind of shake it off and kind of let it go.
But what I believe in my heart of hearts, and I don't know, because I'm dealing with this spiritually, is that's never going to go, because your conscious, your heart, that's like a piece of your heart gone.
Absolutely.
That's like living the rest of your life with a broken heart.
It's grief.
It is grief.
It's grief.
And that's only going to consume you, affect your health, affect your prosperity, and affect the way you live your life.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. You have to learn how to live with it.
Mm-hmm. I tell my kids this all the time. It costs you nothing to believe. It costs you everything not to. Mm-hmm. And part of that belief is being able to forgive a family member, being able to forgive somebody that hurt you. Like, you'll forgive somebody in the streets, but you ain't gonna forgive your mama and your daddy. Come on now, that's not what we do. And I think that more importantly, right now, with the political climate we're in, with the way people are, with the economy the way it is, we need to lean on our families more than ever. You see families that are moving in together, like building compounds for one another. We need to figure out how to bridge that gap in our families, regardless to who's right or wrong. Sometimes people don't want to hear they're wrong. Like, there's times I don't want to hear that I'm wrong. And you know, my daughters especially will be like, really, Mom?
I hate hearing I'm wrong.
Really,
so
Mom?
I'm with you on that.
Like, for real, Mom?
But
you know, you're passive aggressive. You know, you like, right? It's like, when you have children, it's the biggest mirror in the world.
Yep. They show you who you are.
They show you who you are. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like, you have to see the bad part of yourself as well. So when you have kids, keep your word.
Mm-hmm. Be an intentional parent.
Everybody don't have to grow up in the biggest house with the best bags and the best things. Sometimes people just want you to spend time with them. Sometimes people just want you to eat breakfast with them. And kids never forget that. So if your kid has cut you off or is not talking to you, keep investigating the reason why they're not. Mm-hmm. There is a reason. Mm-hmm. And even if you think, hey, I've done the best I could. I didn't get to live with you when you was young. I didn't get to be with you. I didn't get to do this. Stop blaming the mother.
Well, you're still living and breathing. You're still living and breathing, so you still have a chance. Fix it.
fix it.
Yeah, fix it.
Fix it. Mm-hmm. Show up. Be accountable. And if you go to therapy, don't lie to the therapist. Don't lie to the therapist. Tell the therapist the truth, right? Because everybody talks about, oh, yeah, I'm in therapy, God. Yeah, I go every week. Fire the therapist, because either the therapist ain't telling you right or you ain't telling the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's the real thing. Like that is the truth. And everybody can't heal themselves. Like, I was just in the car with my sisters and we were like, dang, can you believe we made it? Like, we were just like, what? Because remember there were latchkey kids? Mm-hmm. Kids that let themselves in, came in the house, made their bologna cheese and mayonnaise sandwich.
Yeah, that was me. That's how I grew up.
Anything could have happened to you. Like, right? And you could be mad at your mom for that.
But you're not. But we had a village, right? Like, you think, I don't know what it's like for you, but growing up, you know, we knew our neighbors. Like, we knew our neighbors, mm-hmm. you know, and just like we had that level of connection, and we had a whole process in place where when I got in the house, I called or she called, the phone would ring 3 times and hang up. She called back. So I knew it was her. Mm-hmm. Like, we had all these little codes. Yeah, the little codes in place. But I think that's what we need to do. We need to rewind, like we need to push that forward into like the century we're in now, mm-hmm. and have that level of connection with our children now, because they can get on their device, or they're making friends like in different countries, because my daughters, they play games and they have friends all over the world. You gotta watch that too,
because you don't know who they playing with.
But we have to have we have to have that communication with our kids. So mm-hmm. when they do get older and they are adults, they still want to be a part of the family. They still want to go on family vacation. They mm-hmm. still want to meet you wherever you guys are having, you know, your family vacation or Christmas or whatever.
And here's the biggest thing. What you gonna do? Get married? What you gonna do? Have a new girlfriend? Isn't the girlfriend gonna say where your kids at? Like, I'm not dating you and I ain't never seen your mama and I don't know your kids. I mean, like, come on now. So you just moved on from your whole family. You fucking around with somebody else. Everybody's happy. You at Christmas with somebody. And nobody asked you at Christmas where your family is? Mm-hmm. So are you a liar? Or what you gonna tell them?
And there's just like lots of healing that needs to happen there.
They're at home. They're great. Come on now. That's already starting another path down the wrong way.
A pattern, yeah.
Yes. And so you have to, in order for you to completely be free of anything, and I've learned this the hard way, you have to accept where you're at. You have to accept where you're at. You have to fix what was broken. You have to free yourself from the guilt and the agony and the torment of making poor decisions. And you have to move forward. There's sometimes you have to say, I'm sorry. Even if you say it to God, even if you don't let everybody around you hear it. I wasn't a very good friend. You know, my mom's mad at me because I threw away her candlesticks. And I did it because it's too much damn clutter, mm-hmm. right? But I was wrong. But I did it. But she's 80 years old. I don't want her to fall in a house full of clutter. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do it because, you know, I was just trying to be big bad daughter. I did it out of love mm-hmm. and safety and caring. Because, you know, every grandmother and mother hold on to shit forever. It's like, no, don't take that. Don't take that from me.
But you have that conversation with her, though. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? Like, that's how you keep the mm-hmm. relationship, by having that conversation. Like, I did that, Mom, because I care about you. Mm-hmm. Like, I've had that conversation with my girls individually about their relationship with each other, because I don't want them to be estranged from each other when they grow up either. Right. So it's like, your sister loves you, and this is probably why that happened. So you guys need to talk.
And I had that conversation with my grandmother on my father's side and my father about him. And I was young. Look, I give all glory to God for my wisdom, because I don't know where it came from. Like, I must have switched way back ancestrally and got this wisdom, because I had a conversation with my grandmother about my relationship with my father. And then before my father passed, he and I grew closer at the time that he was sick. He helped me develop a relationship with the Lord. And I had a conversation with him about how I felt about the father he was to me. Mm-hmm. And that took a lot from somebody young. I'm young, I'm engaged, I'm not married, but I'm trying to figure out, if I get all these generational sins out of my spirit or my realm, maybe, just maybe, I can have a peaceful household. Maybe, just maybe, I can spare my kids some of the hurt and the pain that I went through. And me and my dad talked. It was between us. You know, a lot of people in my family don't understand it. I don't think my family really fully understood the impact or the dynamic of the relationship with me and my father and what it did to me as a kid. And I think there's still some family members on my father's side of the family that feel like I'm distant, or maybe I should have worked harder to have a relationship with him, or I should have worked harder to be closer to that side of my family. But I was a kid. You know, I was a kid.
If it's up to the parent, I feel like we said many times, the parent should be the one that's solidifying that.
And they may have known a different side of him than me.
Probably.
Because you know what? It's like sometimes it's mask on, mask off. Like, I don't know. Like, and at the time, I didn't care. I had my own family at that point. I didn't care. I made my peace with him. So I felt like I didn't owe any of them an explanation. The only person I felt like I owed an explanation to was his mother and him. And the rest of them, it was like, you know, deuces. Like, whatever, right? And I'm still, you know, I'm still that way, period. Like, if it's something that's hurting my kids or something that is going to cause detriment with my kids, I'm gonna have a conversation with you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, there's no fear in that. Like, I'm coming for you. Like, because I'm a mom all the time. I'm not a mother when I'm from 9 to 5. I'm not a mother, you know, just in the morning. I'm a mother 24/7.
That's important for children to know that too, that they're protected, you know, and that their family is a safe space. And that's what we're creating by doing that. You know, if somebody's coming after our kids, or somebody does something out of line with my kids, I'm the same way. We're having a conversation.
We are having a conversation. And I can't change.
And it won't happen again.
You know, and when people are divorced, people need to understand you can't change the dad's parenting style, because there are dads that live in the home with the wife and they're not dads. You know, there are men that live at home with the wives and they're not dads. They're not taking the kids to soccer practice. They're not doing the things that they need to do, you know, but they dictating. and that never worked for me. You know, that just never worked for me. So hopefully in 2026, I'm glad we're having this conversation early, people can bridge that gap and people can find a way back to their families.
So if we could break it down, what would you say some of the reasons would be that adult children decide to not be in contact with their families or their parents? And you can go back as far as, you know, where it starts, because I think it starts when they're younger and how you develop those relationships with your kids. But what do you think some of the reasons are?
I do think it starts when they're younger. I think that it starts with a lot of disappointment in that parent. I think it starts with a lot of parents being absent and not showing up for their kids. I think it starts with parents choosing work over family, mental health, drugs. We talked about that, abuse, be it sexual, mental, verbal, physical. I think there's a lot of reasons that it happens. I think that when we're in it and we're so-called parenting, we don't realize some of the damage that we do to our children. Again, it's like when the little girl's sitting there getting ready for somebody to pick her up and nobody shows up. Or it's like if you're playing a really important basketball game and one parent never comes. I gotta work. I can't be there. They never show up. At some point in time, that child's gonna be like, well, shit. When they become grown, you ain't gonna do it to my kids. You didn't show up for me.
On the flip side of that too, though, and I struggle with this because, like, my youngest daughter, she's a soccer player, and my oldest daughter, she's involved in theater, and I don't ever want to miss any of their activities. But then there's also a part of me that's like, well, if I do miss, it's okay, because they have to know that they're still going to be their very, very best, even if I'm not there. You know, so I think it's important as parents that we teach children that a level of autonomy. Otherwise, I think that's a reason why they leave, is they feel like that parent is just so overbearing.
And I think that makes sense, but I also think that you're not missing the season.
Oh, never.
You ain't showing up when it counts.
No, I've not missed a game.
You're not just going to show up
yeah.
at the important games. You're going to show up at the unimportant games. It's like you're going to show up for whatever it is. And I think that there's parents that are like, oh, I got to work. I can't make it. Oh, I'm going to try, but I got to be at this. When you're saying I got to work and I got to be at this event, or I got to be at that event, or I couldn't make it, you're not, or I mean, if you don't have money to be there, say I don't have the money to be there. Be perfectly honest with your kids. I would get there if I could, but maybe, I just couldn't make it.
That's important.
FaceTime. Figure out a way. Get your priorities and your shit together. Kids don't care that you had to be at another event. Kids don't care that, you overextended yourself.
Well, no, that translates, if they have another event, that translates that that's more important than them, especially when they're younger. That's how that lands for kids.
And when they get older and can take care of themselves, they feel like I'm more important than you. Protecting me from your lack of or your bullshit is more important than to me.
Yep.
And I think that that's what's happening a lot. And I also think that kids are making parents more accountable. Give me an explanation. Like when they grow up and they become adults, they want an explanation. Like, I mean, I can remember my sister asking my mother one time, she's like, Mom, why did you always let him talk to us like that? And my mother was like, what I did, right? She didn't mean nothing by it, right? Or why did you think those jokes were funny? That shit wasn't funny. And it's like, my kids have asked me in our relationships, why did you let him do that?
And
why didn't you say something?
Yeah, then rather getting defensive about it, you need to look at it as, this is the child wanting to have that communication and building that relationship, rather than the parent getting defensive, being like, what do you mean? Like, you don't know what I was going through. You don't know how hard it was for me or whatever. It's like, let that conversation happen, because that builds the bond between you and your children.
Even if you think I'm right, I did the best I could. I was the best person I could be. I was the best mama I could be. I did all this. I did all that. I did this. I did that. Listen to them. Because there's something you didn't do. There's something that slipped through the cracks. So there's something. Like, people don't just get up and decide, I'm not going to fool with you for nothing.
Yeah.
There is something. And if you have that conversation with your adult child and you tell your adult child, hey, I'm really going to try harder. I'm going to change. I'm going to do better. You might mess up again, but keep trying. Because if you mess up and don't try, you might not get a chance to come back. Like, you may not get a chance to come back. Because it looks like to me that the millennials and Gen X, Z, I don't know what the hell it is, they're a lot less forgiving than we were. And that's something that people need to recognize.
Yeah. Or they're a bit more self-absorbed. And I mean that, and that sounds negative. I don't mean in a negative way, but they're more about like, my peace, my truth, my this, my that
is going to say to me,
and they're going to say, you're crossing my boundary, my border. So I'm just going to you can't be in my lane, and they're just going to keep moving forward.
Exactly. I might forgive your ass, but I ain't gonna fool with you. Period.
I get that. Yep.
I mean, and it's hard, but my advice, keep calling. Keep trying.
And start when they're younger, start when they're young, when they're toddlers, build that.
But if you can't start and go back to that, and you're already in it, it's like, if you don't make a decision to get out, it's like swimming in quicksand.
Yeah. I know someone.
It's just going to get more and more difficult.
I know someone who's in that situation right now with their adult child, and she's doing what you're saying. Like, it's like still making sure there's a gift for Christmas, and still reaching out on the birthday, and still, trying to have those conversations. And as a parent, it's heartbreaking. I would think every single time you're reaching out to your child and you're not getting a response.
Has she asked why?
So, yeah, for sure. They've, it's a whole, it's never just this, you know what I mean? There are a lot of layers to it, I think, but I think it's important, it's easy to say like, well, I'm just not going to deal with them because it hurts, But I think as a parent, we just have to try.
But I
trying.
also think, spiritually, when you've hit that wall. I think when you've gotten that split. It's like, when you first meet a guy and you like him and you're like, oh, gaga, and you got love all in your eyes. And it's like, oh, he's here. It's like the apple of my eye. Mm-hmm. And then, when the relationship starts changing, that glycerin or that gleam that comes out of your eye ain't there no more. You know when you have a spiritual break from another person, and you may not know exactly what, but at the time when it hits. It's like I can call my daughter and she's like, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. Or you can call your daughter and be like, hey, and she's like, Mom, I was about to text you. You have a spiritual connection to people, especially your children, because you made them, like, and I think that no matter what the circumstances is, no matter whether it's divorce, no matter if it's trauma from a childhood, fix it. Whatever it takes, do what you need to do to fix it. If that means never stop calling. If it means if you got to show up, if you got to send a letter, fix it. Not a text, send them a letter. Mm. Take some time, invest some time in getting your family right.
And keep the door open, because you may not get a response, but when you send that letter, or when you make that call and leave a message that, the door is always open. I'm always willing to have this conversation so we can mend this because you matter to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but again, I'm going to go back to this. Be honest. Don't blame it on the other person. Don't blame it on, they didn't listen because I didn't get to do this or I didn't have the right to do that. Be honest, because we're going to close with this. To thy own self be true. You lie to yourself, you'll lie to anybody. My family is Gracie okay?
That's the first thing I thought too.
It's a girl.
I knew it had something to do with that. If it was in G, which I'm glad it was in G. Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my gosh, this little girl's she is gonna be princess. She has no idea she's gonna be born with a crown.
Dee's gonna buy her a limo. Yeah, Dee's gonna go crazy over this chat.
Mm-hmm.
Dee, I feel bad for her.
You.
Yeah, but I feel bad for her boyfriend. Yeah, Dee's not gonna play. Lord, that's bad. Like that. Woo.
That's gonna be great.
Look, he should already take applications. Shit, because I'm telling you right now.
It needs to be an arranged marriage.
Oh, he's gonna arrange it. He's gonna arrange it. He is gonna arrange it. Like, that is gonna be nuts. Wow. Awesome. We're having a baby, y'all.
Yes.
It's like crazy.